This is Steve Zeltzer with Workweek. And recently there have been a series of fires at a battery plant near Moss Landing in California. And this plant released a large amount of toxic material. And one of the residents who has been studying this and also was an expert around San Onofre and the contamination there is joining us, Donna Gilmore. And she has been studying the effects of these toxics and is concerned about their effect on the community and the people in the region. So welcome to our show, Donna.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So Donna, why don't you talk about, first, you are now living near that plant, but you moved from another plant where you had some problems as well. So it seems from one fire to another fire.
Yeah, different kind, but never a dull moment. So I moved away from San Onofre because they have nuclear waste that is being released continuously, streaming radiation, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission calls it. It doesn't, the storage containers that they have are not really designed to hold all the radiation. So anyway, that's a whole nother story. But so I moved away because I could not see anything happening to stop the radiation releases from those inferior canisters they're using. So I moved to Monterey, fresh air, Monterey Peninsula, water on three sides. All the nuclear reactors are at least 125, 150 miles away. So I'm here and managed to get a house with a view of Monterey Bay, which amazed me I could get that. And I'm looking over the bay. This is in 2019, and I'm seeing a fire, a fire across the bay at Moss Landing. What the heck is this, So then I had to do a deep dive in battery storage systems, I assumed they were safe and everything. I hadn't looked into it. I was focused on the nuclear stuff. And what I learned about the battery storage systems, that they have them on the PG&E grid here, is there are numerous factory defects for making lithium ion batteries that they can't find. So there is no way that they can ever say that they can make these battery storage systems safe. And the Vistra fire, which is the battery storage system that caught on fire this time, this is the third fire they've had. And then there was a Tesla battery storage fire at the same location. So basically, there's been 4 fires in 5 years. 4 fires in 5 years. These are new systems. And this time, it was over 100,000 batteries caught on fire. And okay, so, and you can't put those fires out. You just have to let them burn. So I'm seeing all this smoke going into, going east. And I'm going, what's in that smoke? So I researched what's in a battery storage fire. And my goodness, there's all kinds of toxic stuff. One in particular, hydrogen fluoride. Hydrogen fluoride gas will go through your skin, go into your lungs, go into your eyes, go into your bloodstream, gets into your bloodstream. It can go to all your vital organs. This is not stuff you want to be breathing. And so the EPA came out, they came in and did a little measuring of see if there was hydrogen fluoride. And they came in late, and they said, well, it's within approved levels. So there's a Facebook page with over 3,000 people talking about all the symptoms that they've been having: burning eyes, going to the hospital, having trouble breathing, all kinds of things. And the company Vistra is, that's claiming that they can make battery storage safe. The words they use is basically as safe as the, whatever the current technology is. So that's their little qualifier, to lie but not lie. And so there, like I said, there are numerous things that can go wrong with these batteries that are undetectable, that they have no way to stop. And these are common things that cause these battery fires. There was also a battery fire this year in San Diego County, where they just put a system in there. I forget whether it was just last year or this year. That's already caught on fire. The Tesla one, it caught on fire shortly after it was here. Smoke, fire, same problem. So this is just not ready for prime time. But nobody in the media no one in any interviews they've done with anybody has mentioned that they have no way to stop these fires from these manufacturing defects and a few other things that they can't stop. Nobody is bringing that issue up. So that's the issue I want out there. It is impossible for them to make these battery storage systems safe. And it's a major health risk. Another thing that's happened is San Jose State University, just on their own, went out and looked for all kinds of metals within 2 miles of the plant. They found all kinds of toxic metals in the ground, high levels. And kind of an interesting side note, Prunedale is one of the cities that was exposed, that's inland from the plant. And there was a person that cut his tree, that took a tree down and the roots, and he took it to the dump, and they wouldn't take it when they found out it was from Prunedale. They wouldn't take his tree.
So the agencies that are supposed to do oversight on these toxins, EPA, on health and safety, OSHA, California State Department of Toxins, where are they, and what reports are they making? Are they doing any surveys of the health effects for the workers and the people that live in those communities?
Well, I just want to mention one thing. You need a respirator to be protected, to protect your lungs from that hydrogen fluoride, a respirator. N95 won't work, okay? The firemen were over there without any gear on, and even there's special clothes you're supposed to wear for that. So it's crazy. Vistra, the company that owns that facility on the PG&E grid, they promised to get an independent company to inspect. That company is the one that Palestine, Ohio, the car, the train that exploded. It's the same company that said everything was safe there. So, and the governor calls the shots, and the California Energy Commission, the California Public Utility Commission, he controls all of those. So it's really up to the governor, to make the call. And all the elected officials, they're all of one party, and they have to go along with the governor. So the APA and the toxic groups, I don't see other than the EPA out there. They said the EPA spokesperson said they were talking to the California, I forget the agency name, toxic folks, and they're the ones that talked about it being in safe levels. And I don't see anything coming from the state of California. The county supervisors, Monterey County supervisors, after 4 fires in 5 years, they're kind of getting the fact that this isn't safe. It's not being safely managed. And I'm just trying to bring in the fact that they can't safely manage it. So,
they're talking about building these battery factories all over the United States.
They're already doing them all over the state. I don't have the number of how many they have, but there's lots of them all over, and they want to put them in Santa Cruz. They want to put them at Morro Bay, and they want to put another one in San Diego County. They're just wanting them all over the place and ignoring these critical issues of the health risks and the fact they're not you can't adequately inspect them. And all it takes is one of those batteries to have what they call a runaway, and it can set all the others on fire. What is it called?
Chain reaction.
Yeah.
So you're saying the fact that they don't know where these fires start, what batteries, and they don't have a way of protecting people. Should these plants be shut down?
They're not ready for prime time. There's no way we should have battery storage fires. I mean, there's been lithium battery fires with electric bicycles and other things like that, but you're talking about a smaller number. But when you put stacks and stacks of lithium batteries together, you've just improved your odds that you're going to get some of the batteries that have the defects, since they can't find them at the manufacturer, they can't find them afterwards, and then some of the corrosion can happen even later, and you can't detect. So it's but this is being covered up. The people that push the batteries, I've actually talked to some of the people that other people look up to as their experts, and I say, well, I've been reading about these manufacturing defects that they have no way to find in the batteries, and the answer I get is, well, yeah, but there's new technology coming on, the market. Like that's an okay reason to blow $1 billion this month on a battery storage system, burning 100,000 batteries and polluting the ocean, the sea otters. This is supposed to be a sanctuary for the animals and for the people. and also in this area, this is this area produces like 80% of the produce for the entire country. And so are the strawberries and the other fruits and vegetables here, are they contaminated with this hydrogen fluoride and other things? Nobody's checking that I know.
And the workers who work in these fields.
The workers shouldn't even be out there. They were telling people that it was safe to go out. Oh, another thing with this hydrogen fluoride, it turns into a hydrofluoric acid, and that will travel, that it will look like a white fog. But it's just, lethal stuff. And they were telling people it was okay. The EPA is telling them it's okay. That those farmers and other people can go back and work in those fields. It's just criminal.
So, I mean, Gavin Newsom has a record of taking money from these same companies, from PG&E, and basically doing the bidding of these corporations. Do you think that's why he's basically going along with these dangerous toxins being released by these battery fires?
I don't know if he knows enough to know. I don't know what he knows, what he understands. There's always the financial connections. There's always the power, the powerful, I think his PG&E gave his wife a lot of money for a documentary she was making years ago, so there's that. But I'm just not sure what he really understands or doesn't understand. He doesn't really read because he's extremely dyslexic. He once said on a video that I watched that if his staff gave him a 3x5 card, he wouldn't be able to read the bullet points on it. So I can't imagine being a person that can't read, and I have to count on everybody else for facts. I can't imagine being governor and not being able to do that. So,
and are people in the community aware of the dangers of this chemicals and what it means to them?
This time, this time there's been more awareness, but they were not, and a lot of people still were not. So, you could see the fire, and the fire lasted for days. So it got more exposure, but people knew nothing, really. Most people know nothing about this. They don't know about these toxins. I've been trying to educate them on the hydrogen fluoride where I can. I haven't been able to get the local rags here, I'll call them, to share this. This is one piece of information that doesn't seem to come out, that they cannot find these battery fires before they start for a lot of reasons.
Well, even the firefighters, the first responders, you would think that they would be in an uproar being sent to a facility like that. And there are two major battery plants and all these fires, and they're not prepared to deal with them when there is a fire.
Yeah, I don't, this is kind of a new area literally a new area for me in Monterey. And then I've been watching all the things on the news. I see these firefighters going there without, they're not wearing a respirator. And it sounds like there's a lot of lack of education or information going to these departments. So I'm hoping this Morro Bay will be a wake-up call. But with Gavin Newsom, I don't know if he is open to facts, or if he's going to just want to believe what they're telling him, that everything's safe or something.
And the introduction of technology is an important issue because you have a government now of deregulation. They believe that the tech billionaires, the techno-fascists, believe that they should be able to introduce this new technology, power plants to provide the energy for AI. Do you think this is out of control at this point? Because it seems that it's not going towards more protection or more oversight.
Well, the Biden administration gave billions of dollars for new nuclear reactor startups. I've been following that closely. And I've attended Nuclear Regulatory Commission meetings, read the documents. And when they approved the NuScale small modular reactor, I call them small mythical reactors. When they approved that one, I read the Federal Register. It said in there that the steam generator design won't work, and some other critical parts won't work with their design. Hello, and you just got approval from the NRC. There's a lot of political pressure coming for the NRC to do that, to do something like that. So, but the news, all the news, local, national, international, oh, well, we have NuScale approve SMR design. They never report that the doggone design won't work. They don't. To my mind, if you are a nuclear or wannabe nuclear company, and you can't submit a design that works, why would you trust a company like that? And if the NRC knows they won't work and approves them anyway, why would you trust the NRC? But getting the message out is really tough.
And it seems that was a similar problem in San Onofre and what was going on there. Even the struggle around canisters, the fact that there were problems with the canisters. They didn't have enough thickness. Whistleblowers were being retaliated against at that nuclear plant, and they were blacklisted so that people were afraid to even speak up. It seems like there's a systemic problem of cover-up around health and safety in these areas.
Yeah, so you have so I first got involved in nuclear when I lived in San Clemente, 5 miles from the San Onofre reactors. And a whistleblower was saying there were some things that weren't safe being done. And I initially, because I really hadn't been involved in nuclear stuff at all, I thought that if you have a nuclear plant, if you have nuclear reactors, that you wouldn't be stupid enough to not make sure it's safe. Didn't cross my mind anybody would be that incompetent. And I thought that the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, there's no way they wouldn't be making sure they were being operated safely, because the consequences are so horrendous. I've got a doggy here. Callie? Stop for a minute. You want? So with San Onofre, San Onofre was shut down because it released radiation, and it released radiation in these steam generators that they replaced. After less than 1 year of them being installed, they're supposed to last 40 years. And then they have two reactors there. Each reactor has 2 steam generators. And when it was investigated, it found they had decades of wear in just 1 and 2 years of operation. Edison still wanted to restart one of them. And so I was part of the fight to stop those reactors for going back online. And that fight eventually was successful. That's a whole nother movie. There is a movie, by the way, about that. SOS San Onofre Syndrome on Amazon Prime. And so the LA Times called me the day Southern California Edison said they weren't going to restart San Onofre. And they said, Donna, you're our first call. You know, what's your thoughts? And my first thought was, if they mismanage that reactor so bad, what the heck are they doing with all the nuclear waste there? And that started my focus on researching nuclear waste. And I found out in the United States, not just at San Onofre, they use thin wall canisters that don't stop all the radiation from coming through the walls. I mean, the canisters are thin wall stainless steel, 1/2 inch, 3/8 of an inch thick, and they put the canisters inside a thick concrete cask, but they have air vents in the cask, so it's not sealed. There's air vents in there. And that's because the fuel is so hot, they have to have continuous air circulation around them so that the fuel doesn't overheat. And most people did not know that there were air vents in those concrete casks. People in the anti-nuclear community, nobody seemed to know about that at all. And so I did the deep dive, basically spent almost a decade of my life on this stuff. And the gamma radiation is not stopped by the canister. Neutrons are not stopped by the canister. It goes right through the wall. So whatever gets out of the air vents. And they don't measure, the NRC and the utilities don't measure all the radiation coming out. They just measure a little bit of it. And then in addition, and this is new, it's not in the documentary, water, fog, carbon particles, salt, insects, whatever, carbon-based particles, they travel through these air vents. And when they flow through these air vents, the water from the fog, moisture, the neutrons convert the water to radioactive water. And the carbon particles that flow through there, it turns regular carbon that most of us are made out of, it turns regular carbon into radioactive carbon, carbon-14. So these storage containers, not only do they not store all the radiation that's coming out from the inside, they actually are creating radiation. They're creating radioactive water. They're creating radioactive carbon. When the NRC was asked about, I was at the NRC actually invited me to speak at an annual waste conference, and I was, made a presentation on the canister issues. A biochemist in the audience, he says, "Wait a minute, there's air vents?" He said, "Well, that means all the that means you're creating carbon-14. You're creating radioactive carbon. How much radioactive carbon are you creating at RC? Well, we don't really measure it. Just kind of, that was that. There's your protective agency. There's your Nuclear Regulatory Commission, totally controlled by the corporations, totally controlled. And there are good people that work there, but they're not in any position of power to make decisions. So now I never like to talk about a problem without a solution. So I literally researched the world and found out that most of the world is using thick wall metal cask. They're 10 to over 19 inches thick, and they don't have air vents, and they're totally sealed. They can be monitored to prevent releases. They can be maintained. They have the 10-inch ones at Fukushima, and those survived the disaster at Fukushima with both the tsunami and the radioactive fallout, so it survived all that. But here in this country, the utilities, the owners of the that own the reactors, they call the shots. They decide what to buy to store the nuclear waste. And they chose to buy the ones that were less expensive rather than the ones that were going to hold all the nuclear waste. And the Nuclear Regulatory Commission just looks the other way and ignores their own safety requirements. Countries like Germany, Switzerland, I have a website, sanonofresafety.org. There's a web page on there called the Swiss Solution, and it gives you a good example of what we need to do here. We need to have all the nuclear waste in thick wall metal casks, and that's what we have to do with all if we want to be safe for the time being. Regarding a geological repository solution, the Nuclear Waste Technical Review Board, it's a federal, they have put in writing that they have no idea how to make any geological repository work. They don't have the technology, and they don't know how they ever will.
Going back to these battery fires, is there an to demand that Governor Newsom shut them down because they don't have a way of stopping these fires?
That would be the action item that needs to happen. Whether he will do it, I don't know. I tried to, I actually was an intervener in the Public Utility Commission trying to stop the state at San Onofre from buying the inferior canisters. I made a cost-based case also, which is in their jurisdiction. And the judge ruled all my testimony and as more meritorious, which means I made my case. But this is outside the scope of the commission. So the fix was in. So I don't expect anything different. I'm the California the California Public Utility Commissions in March is going to look into this. Same commission that said I was out of scope, but I made a meritorious case. I have, in the past, if a governor didn't like what the Public Utility Commission was doing, they would get rid of the person on the commission. So everything goes back to the governor.
Okay, well, maybe we can find out when this next Public Utility Commission meeting is going to be on this issue, and people can let their thoughts be known about why these plants should continue operating when they don't know how to stop the fires and they don't know what's causing the fires and a way to stop the fires.
The PUC probably already knows this, and they're going to do whatever the governor tells them. This is really go to the governor or what, maybe there's some really rich donor that the governor doesn't want to lose that could be convinced, hey, governor, don't do this. I think that's more likely what might have an effect.
And there are people in the Monterey area who are very wealthy who have homes there. And they're being affected by this. It's not just farm workers. It's not just poor people.
Exactly. Yes. The house prices in like Carmel and Pebble Beach, that, something you could be 1,000 square feet and it'll be, $4 million. And then, then Pebble Beach, you've got, 10, 20, $30 million for a house. I mean, it's, and so, yeah, probably a lot of these are probably second homes, but yeah.
Okay, well,
I had an investment company call me and they're looking for what they should be investing in. So that, that's another thing. If there are investment companies investing money in nuclear or in the batteries, if they refuse to invest in that stuff, that could have an effect.
Okay, well, I want to thank you very much for joining us, Donna. We've been talking with Donna Gilmore, who has been studying the effects of these fires and battery fires and the dangers of those fires, and also was previously living in near a San Onofre nuclear plant and studied the effect of the storage of the canisters, and has discovered that there are serious deficiencies in the protection of the residents and the workers and people of California because of the lack of protection. So thanks for joining us on Work Week.
Thank you for having me.